What's cooking, everyone? Welcome into Around the Felt, continuing our mini-series, breaking down every team before the 2025 NFL season. And tonight, we get to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, winners of 15 games last year, 7 straight conference championships, and a Super Bowl appearance in 5 of the last 6 years with 3 rings. Reagan, how you doing tonight, sir? You ready to talk some KC Chiefs football?
I am ready to talk some KC Chiefs football, man. The Super Bowl runner-ups, why not? We're talking a dynasty here. We're talking a good football team. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It is fun to talk dynasties. I know a lot of people want to root against the Chiefs. You know, I was on the other side of that in the Super Bowl. I was like, you know what? I'll root for the three-peat going against Philadelphia. But unfortunately, they got steamrolled against Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. But we're looking ahead to 2025 here. An 11.5 win total for KC with 15 wins last year. It seems a little bit low, but clearly the AFC West has gotten significantly better from 2024 till now. So, Reagan, the floor is yours. What record do you have for the Chiefs in 2025?
So I have the Chiefs going 12-5. I do have them hitting their over slightly.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it's a good
just
line.
11.5. It is a good line because I feel like, to me, I can't see this team, no matter what it is, as long as Mahomes is healthy, I can't see them not being at least bare minimum a 10-win team. And then at that point, it's like, let's be real. They're going to win a lot of they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to win a lot of close football games. I mean, the defense is still very good. The offense is good. I mean, the offensive line, there's a couple question marks, but for the most part, it seems like they solidified it. You know, I would hope Josh Simmons, who they drafted in the first round, ends up, filling a big hole for them. Obviously, we saw what happened in the Super Bowl. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. Rashee Rice, that'll be an interesting one coming off the injury, but also the suspension lurking, potentially. I know the NFL
probably
now can make a ruling. I'd imagine he's going to at least miss the first 10 games. So that makes some of the other options interesting. Like Jalen Royals, very interesting option, the rookie as well, if he's to miss some time, Rice. And I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a team I think could go far, but come playoff time, I do think they may be a first-round exit this year or second-round exit. I really don't see them winning it this year.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs at 11-6, which seems kind of crazy with only giving them 11 wins, but definitely some question marks here. I'm very curious to see. I mean, first, just some additions, some losses real quick. So Jalen Moore at tackle, competing at left with Josh Simmons right now, the rookie out of Ohio State that you mentioned earlier. They added Christian Fulton to the defense at corner, but, they lost Joe Tooney, who's one of the best offensive linemen in football. Just getting ahead of that one. They couldn't afford to pay everybody. He's up there in age, so makes sense. Justin Reed, a leader on the back end of that defense for many years. And DeAndre Hopkins, which, it is what it is. He's not going to be a top 3 receiver on this team anyways. But I'm a little concerned about the offense, Reagan. They had the lowest explosive play rate in the league last year. Clearly, they took a big step back offensively compared to 2023, and the defense picked up the slack, which we'll get into in a bit. But it was their lowest air yardage per attempt at 6.3 in the entire league, which, when Mahomes first broke out, we were just used to him chucking the ball all over the yard. And now they've kind of switched up the play style. Part of that's due to, Kelsey's up there in age now, doesn't have as much yak ability and explosive plays. Part of that was the injuries to the wide receivers. I mean, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy didn't even play a game together in the regular season. So that's certainly a factor as well. The receivers were bad in 23, so they tried to boost it last year. Injuries did not help them. I mean, Mahomes was, of course, very clutch. They were really good in third down, but it was the lowest passing yards per game of his career and the most time he got sacked. And, of course, what we saw against Philadelphia in the Super Bowl when he was running for his life, it was a problem. And when the left side's brand new with rookie Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, that's questionable. When Jawan Taylor...
not just that. I mean, the run game has so many question marks as well.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can't run the ball, it's going to make it that much harder. And obviously, Mahomes is a beast, but I'm staying away from him in fantasy football completely. I don't know about you, but I haven't drafted him in one Underdog league.
No, you know what? I got Mahomes in one Underdog league right now, and it was just kind of like, all right, he's staring at me in the face. He's still Patrick Mahomes. It's around 6 or 7. Like, I'm going to pull the trigger here because, I don't know, it's Patrick Mahomes, and I'm just thinking he's got his healthy weapons. But to your point, yeah, like I would say potentially Dallas is like the only running back room that I don't like more than KC's. You know, it was the least explosive backfield in football last year. They were last in runs of 10 plus yards. Pacheco hurt his foot early, never looked the same. I mean, obviously Kareem Hunt was very old, but like he was, I guess, fine. And he just didn't
better than Pacheco.
He was better than Pacheco. He didn't break any tackles though. Like you knew when he got hit, like that's really it. He might fall forward, but there was no explosive runs there. After Pacheco, fractured his leg. And then after he returns, he had 49 carries for 175 yards. So that's really bad. So
yeah, that's why I actually think in terms of the backfield, not to get too off track, but I think Elijah Mitchell and the rookie Brashard Smith are pretty interesting to me because, like I was saying with Dallas, you know, the two guys that are at the top of the depth chart right now don't scare me at all. And I wouldn't be shocked Pacheco wouldn't be cut, but I wouldn't be shocked if Hunt gets cut before the season starts. But I think Elijah Mitchell, man, he showed a lot of flashes with the 49ers. I mean, his biggest thing was always not being able to stay healthy, but I would definitely throw some dart throws at those two guys late in underdog drafts. And, even in redraft leagues at the end of your drafts, like throw Elijah Mitchell on your bench.
Yeah, I mean, Pacheco took over the job as a late round draft pick. I mean, even Carson Steele got some look early in the season last year before they were like, all right, this kid like can't play in the NFL, like fumble issues, wasn't explosive. So Reed's not afraid.
He's more of a fullback anyway.
Yeah, but Reed's not afraid to get some of these late round young guys some reps, an opportunity to win the job. So I like that call out of you. I think this backfield is certainly open, and they're going to need it. Like Mahomes can't do everything himself. I mean, he probably can do everything himself, but you'd prefer that not happen. So yeah, when you look at the rest of the O-line, Jawan Taylor was 36th from right tackles in pressure rate allowed and had 19 penalties, tied for the most. I know he's always been like infamous for jumping early, a lot of holding calls. So I don't like right tackle. A lot of question marks at left and left tackle, left guard. Of course, Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith are both elite. Of course, Trey Smith just got a bag, so well-deserved.
That he did.
So you feel pretty good about the interior, but Mahomes running for his life again with no run game doesn't sound like a recipe for success for this team offensively in 2025. And you'd think they're better than they were last year. It is Mahomes and Reed, but still question marks. And now going to the defense, I mean, it was just damn good last year. Second best run defense, 11th in pressure rate. They did only have 39 sacks, but they were getting there. Karlaftis also got paid, after he led the team with 8 sacks. Pretty damn good. It's a good find from them out of Purdue late in the first round. Nick Bolton's a stud, another guy that they found to that defense. Felix Anudike-Uzomah has been a bust so far, so that's pretty disappointing. Of course, Chris Jones, still one of the best in the game. Of course, the secondary, they were one of the top pass defense of football last year. McDuffie's elite. Jalen Watson only had 6 games, but was good, so that's another boost coming in. The defense I'm not super concerned about, but I don't know if we're going to see this offense look more like 2022, 2021 KC offense, or if it's going to be more like last year, which I think could be a problem with the AFC West getting better.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. I mean, they're obviously going to be a playoff team. I just feel like this could be the year where they don't win the division and they end up being a wild card because, on paper, they just have a lot of holes. But at the end of the day, it's just hard to pick against them because as long as Mahomes and Reed are there, Mahomes is healthy, I have no doubts in my mind. I mean, I do like that they brought in Minshew as well as the backup. Like, not that, Wentz was bad, but I would say, Minshew was definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, I would say so. You know what else kind of bothers me about the Chiefs? This is an insane stat. They went 11-0 in 1-score games last year. The only team in the league not to lose one. I don't know how sustainable that is year over year. Like, you're not going to win every 1-score game again. And 11 out of your 17 games is insane. They Reed and Mahomes, they find a way to win.
That's what I mean. As long as they have Mahomes.
That's insane, though.
Yeah, and that's why I had him going 12-5 still, which, it does feel low. It really does. It's just
I got 11-6, and I have them losing this division, by the way.
Wow.
I have the Los Angeles Chargers winning the AFC West in 2025. I'm a full believer in Jim Harbaugh. His quote with Justin Herbert's biggest problem is we need to all get to his level. And I'm like, damn right, Jim. I just love the
Wow.
Chargers this year. And I see the holes on the offensive line for KC and on the defense. And I don't think they can win 11 one-score games again this year. I really don't.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I got the Chargers making it as a wild card. I also have the Denver Broncos making it as a wild card. So I do think, it's going to be similar to last year where all three teams are very good and competitive. But I guess you see, not necessarily that the Chiefs are taking a step back, but that the Chargers and the Broncos as well would be taking, going to that next level where they're competing for the division versus, getting the wild card. Because I believe, both games were really close last year between the Chargers. And obviously, Denver kicked the shit out of Kansas City in Week 18, but they rested all the starters, so it wasn't
they rested their starters.
a legit win against the Chiefs last year.
I just don't see the Chiefs steamrolling this division like they have the past 7-8 years. I think it's going to be much more difficult, and I do have Denver making the playoffs as well. I was very tempted to have them winning this division. Like, they were right there for me, and I was like, you know what? I think I just like the Chargers a little bit better. I like their offense better. I think both defenses are good. I mean, obviously Denver's defense is probably the best in the division right now, but yeah, it's going to be a really competitive AFC West. Still have the Chiefs in the playoffs, and still would be terrified to bet against Patrick Mahomes, even on the road in the postseason.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I mean, and a lot of these, there are a lot of these guys on this roster for fantasy, not to get away from the actual X's and O's, but there's a lot of these wide receivers. It's kind of worth taking dart throws, and the running backs, like they've so many guys where it's like, could he become the guy? But that's why it's hard for me to fully buy into this offense, because I just think it's like so many mid players that like Mahomes can spread it around, but he's not going to ultra target anybody, especially if, Rice misses time. And we know Kelsey, he can turn it on, but like he's not going to turn it on till the playoffs. Like, I think that iteration of Kelsey is gone.
Yeah, so Kelsey had 8.5 yards per catch and 3 touchdowns last year, career lows. So was his 823 yards. His yards after the catch, I mentioned earlier, was down to 3.8 from 5.1 the year prior, and it's been a 4-year stretch of it going down, 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 down. So that's why I'm kind of staying away from Kelsey in fantasy redraft leagues and even best ball. What are your thoughts on Kelsey?
He could, like, I do feel like, why I don't love him, the value is going down because of that. So it might be to a point where it actually is a good value. I think he could still get over 1,000 yards. Like, I think he will have a better season than last year. I just don't think he needs to do that for the team to win. So I think he could still go for over 1,000 this year. And I think the touchdowns will go up because we see regressions go both ways every year. So I think, I'm not sure what his touchdown line is, but I'd at least think he'd get 5 to like 8 this year. Even if he's still under 1,000 yards, I would think that alone. I mean, we've seen him be a monster in the red zone. We've seen him have 3 touchdown games,
I know,
3 in a season.
In the fucking playoffs, we've seen him have 3 touchdown games. So that was my biggest thing with him last year too, because he's such a popular anytime touchdown scorer bet from the public. He had 3 last year. He burned a lot of people. So you see that touchdown production coming back up, and you probably see a better overall offense from KC this year, even with the lack of a run game.
I think the offense will be very similar. I just think Kelsey will have a better season, at least from the touchdown perspective. It's got to go up. It's got to, because we see that every year with the touchdowns are the hardest thing to predict because teams will adjust. And I think, we also don't know for a fact if Rice is going to be suspended this year. I mean, it may end up getting pushed back till next year. We've seen plenty. Like, I remember Kamara, like it was pretty cut and clear. Like, hey, he's going to get suspended. He did knock this guy out in the Vegas casino, and it ended up being a year later, even though so the NFL takes their time doing it too, and you can appeal it and push it back. So he may not face a suspension until next year.
Yeah, potentially. And, in the way that Andy Reid schemes up plays for Kelsey too, especially in the red zone, I got to think that's going to go up. But out of the 3 receivers here, Hollywood Brown, who was out the first 14 games last year with the broken collarbone, Rashee Rice, who tore his knee in week 4 when Mahomes was going to tackle a guy on a pick, and then Worthy, who started off really slow, but then scored a shit ton of touchdowns and was used as like a gadget player. Not really that downfield speed threat like Tyreek was, but more around the line of scrimmage, but had a really good second half of the season to the Super Bowl. Which one of those 3 would you prefer most?
Worthy for sure. Just because, we don't know what Rice is going to look like coming off the injury. We don't know what the suspension looks like. Hollywood Brown, I'm so out on. I mean, I got so much stock last year in him, and he just didn't play. It's like, I don't know. I think at this point in his career, he's just not what he was. Like, and JuJu's obviously there as well. And I just think those are some guys that like they're not what they were. I think there'll be weeks where like, yeah, we see the Hollywood Brown and it's like, oh shit, like, he's 2 for 80 with 2 bomb touchdowns. And then there's going to be most other weeks where it's like, yeah, he didn't even have a catch. So I'm staying away from that. I'm good. I think they're going to rotate in Skyy more. I think the rookie in Royals is going to get in as well. JuJu. So there's just so many mouths like rotating in and out. So I'll take Worthy, the guy that I think will be playing like at least 90% of snaps most games. We saw how they used him. They draw up these crazy plays. I mean, Andy Reid is, if not the most creative NFL mind in terms of an offensive sense, one of the top guys. Yeah, I mean, even, so yeah, I mean, I just named 6 receivers. I mean, they also got Tyquan Thornton from, the Patriots. So I think he'll rotate in as well. So I just think there's so many guys. And Noah Gray, like obviously they re-signed him. They like scheming stuff up for him. So I think there'll be a lot of packages as well, whether him and Kelsey are on the field. So outside of Worthy, I'm staying away from all wide receivers. I mean, you can take a shot on Royals just because he's a rookie, and we don't know what it'll look like. And I think, like you said, with the running backs, like Reid does not care about the capital. He'll give you a chance. And if you can produce, you're going to keep the job. But outside of that, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time seeing Jalen Royals having a big impact. He's definitely got the tools. He's a size and speed guy. But, he had a limited route tree at Utah State, not the best competition. He's dropped the ball a lot. He had a
what are you saying about the Mountain West, bro?
Hey, I'm Nevada in NCAA football 25, so I'm fully familiar with the Mountain West. But
he also get the new game.
I mean, I'm NCAA 26. I'm sorry, I just got it last week, so I got 1 year down with Nevada. We got steamrolled in the Mountain West. But yeah, I mean, he also had a season-ending foot injury, so not ideal for me though. Rashee Rice is the guy to have in this wide receiver room, even with the pending suspension. Like, I'm taking dart throws in Underdog best ball drafts. He's just a clear-cut number 1 guy. Last year, the first 3 games, 7 for 103, 5 for 75 and a touchdown, and then 12 for 110 and a touchdown. Just insane production. And I'm like, you know what? Even though Xavier Worthy is a good pick as well in my mind, I'm also staying away from Hollywood. I agree with you. Although Worthy's a good pick, he has a completely different role in this offense than what Rashee Rice is going to do, working more downfield. And I just think he's Mahomes' favorite target, and he's established. And even if he gets suspended 4 or 6 games in best ball, like down the stretch of the season when you need him, I think he could be a league winner.
Yeah. You're saying Rice, you think, even if he gets suspended?
Yeah, I think he can be.
So you think,
of course, it depends on the suspension. Like if it's 10 games, all right, completely different, right? It depends on how severe it is. It's definitely a risky pick. But if he's sliding, like I'm not scared to take him, and I'm trying to trade for him in Dynasty leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen in Underdog drafts alone, like everyone I'm in, his ADP is still kind of jacked up, and with this news, he's sliding significantly. And it's usually getting taken like 8-9 picks after his ADP, and it's only because it's a guy that was on auto pick that's getting stuck with him. So, I've definitely seen a lot of people afraid and opting to go other routes. So at a certain point, yeah, the value is there.
Yeah, I mean, if you take him round 3, you're really rolling the dice because that's a massive pick that you're giving up if he's going to be suspended for half the season. It's just a tough thing to predict. You can't predict the courts, man. Can't do it. Can't predict the NFL league office and what they're going to do. No, it could be in 2026, Reagan, and then all those guys got a huge bargain on Rashee Rice,
Exactly.
You never know. All right. The MVP of this team is Patrick Mahomes, of course, unless you want to shout out anyone else.
No. Nope.
Who is your X factor for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025?
Yeah, so my X factor is going to be the running back room as a whole, just because, we know Mahomes is going to get it done with whatever receiver core you give him. The line could be, not great, and he'll still get it done. But he needs some sort of run game. He needs one of these running backs to step up and be able to run the ball. Like, especially in some of these games, like if they are going to try to, install that philosophy where we're going to hold you to under 20 points, we're going to have a good defense. You want to run the ball. You don't want Mahomes throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game, going back to early in his career where he was like slinging it. Like, I think they fully want to be able to establish this because especially come playoff time, that'll be nice to have that factor in. So they need to figure it out. I think that could be a huge factor if it's Pacheco returning the form. We've seen what he can do for this team. We've seen what Kareem Hunt can do for this team. I don't think he'll get back to that form, but or if it's Elijah Mitchell or one of the rookies or one of the undrafted guys, somebody's got to step up and become a big factor, because most of those Kansas City Chiefs teams that won Super Bowls, they had running backs having big impacts. I remember Darrell Williams, Damian Williams. I mean, you could name a ton of guys. Kareem Hunt with his first stint, there were a lot of good different running backs they've had that have been good compliments, and Pacheco as well. So somebody's got to do it. So that's my X factor.
I like it. I went with Rashee Rice. Is he going to be available? Is he fully healthy off the knee? I mean, I think it's no coincidence that they were substantially worse in 24 compared to 23 without Rashee Rice on the field. They had the lowest explosive play rate in the league. Mahomes' passing yards per game was the lowest, and his yards per attempt the lowest of his career. He needs his bona fide number one guy. And with Kelsey regressing, Rashee Rice is that dude. Hopefully the league office gives him a little slap on the wrist and he's ready to roll for this Chiefs team, because they need him for that offense to return to their dominant elite self. Who was your rookie of the year?
That is a good X factor, honestly.
Yeah. Who's your rookie of the year for the Chiefs, Reagan?
So I was going back and forth between Royals, Simmons, obviously. You could go with some of the guys on the defense. But I'm going to go with Brashard Smith, because going back to my running back room.
Yeah, the young buck's going to win the job. Get some carries.
Win the job right away, but I think he'll have a factor, and I think he'll have his chance. I mean, he's 5'10", 196, so he's not the biggest of backs, but I definitely wouldn't consider him undersized either. I mean, that's not a terrible build. At SMU, they last year obviously moving up to a bigger conference, did make the college football playoffs. So, won a lot of games over there, put up some big production there. So I'm going to take the shot on it. I think, like I was saying earlier, between him or Mitchell, I think one of them can win the job. And, by the end of the season, we're like, oh, this guy went undrafted, or, you took the shot in your underdog leagues, and hey, he went for over 1,000 yards on 200 carries and, chipped in 6-7 touchdowns. So I'm calling my shot on him.
200 carries is a crazy call out of you for the rook. That's an insane workload.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think they're going to have a short leash between Hunt and Pacheco, where if one of these other guys shows they have juice, they're going to switch over real quick.
I like it. I did go the chalky route with Josh Simmons here, just because from what's been told in camp thus far, he's been awesome. And he seems like he's going to win the job, enough to the point where addition Jalen Moore, the tackle, is kind of working on the right side now with Jawan Taylor, and they might shift the competition over there. So if you're telling me you're that confident in Josh Simmons from Ohio State, who arguably was the top tackle in the class, if not for the knee injury, he was the only left tackle in the country up until that point when he got hurt, who did not have a blown block in pass protection when his quarterback took a traditional 3-step drop. That's insane. And that is what they need to protect the greatest player of this generation in Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to go with Josh Simmons. He's going to be plug and play at left tackle. I still think it's a question mark. You can never be sure about a tackle as a rookie, because they could be dominant. They could be Tristan Wirfs, but you could also see it could take a couple years, like an Andrew Thomas, who's good now, but initially was not. Sometimes it takes tackles a couple years to get their feet under them. So it's still a question mark for me. It's still a little bit of a concern. But if he's going to be protecting Mahomes' blind side and be damn good at it, they could have found a steal at the end of the first round.
I like that. Sorry, I was looking up his stats just so I had him on hand. But in his 1 year at SMU, because he was on Miami, didn't get much playing time there. 235 carries,
nice,
100 yards,
nice,
14 touchdowns, and another 40 catches with 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, the dude had about 1,700 yards with 18 touchdowns. So,
that's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, big time players making big time plays
on a good team too. For the DPOY, is it Chris Jones or Trent McDuffie in your minds?
I'm going with Chris Jones. I think what he does for that front, I mean, it was pretty obvious even in the Super Bowl, like when he went down and was missing a little bit of time and just, getting taken out of the game, like you need him. You can't afford to miss time. It was similar with when we were breaking down the Giants with Dexter Lawrence. Like some of these interior linemen are just so impactful for everything between the run game, the pass rush. I mean, Chris Jones is just the face and the front of that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. Even though Trent McDuffie is an all-pro caliber corner,
Oh yeah,
Chris Jones, it's just so hard to find interior defensive linemen that are that good at rushing the passer, that are that dominant. There's a handful of them in the league. Chris Jones has been one of the best at it for many years. So I got to give the nod to Chris Jones as well. And fantasy, I mean, I think we already covered it. I'm Rashee Rice. You got your boy Smith, right?
or
I mean,
Mitchell,
or Mitchell. Or, hey, you shout out Xavier Worthy, too. A lot of interesting options in this offense. But, we've also touched on Kelsey, whether or not you want to fade him or stick with Kelsey. So
I know I would take Kelsey. I would, because I think the value is definitely there, like in the underdog leagues and in redraft leagues. I don't think you're not paying that premium you used to pay. Like even last year, you're paying for him to be top 5-6 tight end. I'm curious right now. I'm going to look right now offhand, see kind of where he's going in these underdog drafts. But
I think he's tight end 6. I mean, it's definitely Bowers. It's definitely McBride. I think Hawkinson's above him.
Yeah, yep. He's going as tight end 6, and at 80, his ADP is 98. So
Laporta's above him. Who's the 5th? Who's the 5th guy?
Hawkinson.
No, I'm sorry, Kittle. I'm missing Kittle.
Yeah.
So it's Bowers, McBride, Kittle, Hawk.
Yeah, and I still think he could end as like a top 2 tight end,
Bowers.
top 3.
Yeah.
I think it's 6, and especially with his ADP at 98. I mean, that's like that's a 7th, 8th round pick. So I would definitely take him there.
Well, hit our comment section. Are you in or out on Travis Kelce for fantasy in 2025? What Chiefs receiver would you target? Are the Chiefs primed to go back to the Super Bowl for the 6th time in the last 7 years? Let us know. Drop a like. Check out the rest of our series. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Around the Film.